Okay, so now I'm going to set up and show you how I would sharpen one of my bowl gouges on this. This is a factory grind that you would get from me, which I am the factory, so that's what you're going to get. And it's about 45 degrees is on the end here. There's one way, a simple way to check these, and I show people this. Every tool you buy, it seems like you get one of these things, and probably most of us don't use them. But it's a really good way to check the angle on the end of your gouge if you want to. You can just hold it against here and slide it up there, and you can see what angle you got. This is set right now at 45 degrees, and that's what that angle is there. If your angles are real important to you, this is a simple way to check them. Okay, so back to my gouge now. All right, so we got a couple settings here. We have this one that goes in and out. And we have this one here, the thumb screw. And the other one we have is how far the gouge is out from the jig. I like about 2 inches. I like it out just a little bit farther. Doesn't really matter what that is. You can go from 1 3/4, I think, to 2 inches, they say, but I kind of like 2 inches. I have that set up over there. That is 2 inches. So now we have this here. We have it here like this. This setting right here is pretty much everything that's got to do with what's happening on the tip of this gouge. So I'm going to see if I can get that close to what I have there. Right about there. Okay, and let's look at where we're at here. We're about 2.5. I think it's going to be a little bit less than that by the time we get this all done. And then we got this setting here, in and out. That's going to show what happens on the side of the gouge. If I'm out here too far, like this, you're going to have a gouge that looks like this. You see where all this steel is back here on the heel? We haven't taken enough off the heel on this gouge. To use this gouge, to get to this leading edge, I have to tip this gouge way over, and it almost acts like a scraper. So to get this steel off back here, we would have to change this setting. Okay, back here where we're at now. So let's set this. That's about right there. Now we're going to come around to the side and see what happens on the side here. That's pretty close. And what that dimension is, if you get a gouge from me, it's about 7 1/4 inches from here to the face of this wheel. That's on the center line of this right here. I could tell you what the dimension is from this out to here, but I don't know how you got your grinder and this set up. I don't know what the distance is. But if you set this pocket about 7 1/4 on the center line between these two pieces here, you're going to be really close to the setting you got from me from the factory. So we're going to set that in there. We're going to give this a little spin. I can see what it is. That's real close right there. Lock this down, lock that down. Now, I'm going to sharpen this one side at a time. I'm not going to go like this all the way over to here, because I'm just uncomfortable with that. I'm going to put a light touch on the tip, make a sweep around to there. I'm looking at the edge. I can see where I'm grinding. I'm going to swing around here, do the other side. You can see where I'm doing. I don't have a handle out of here. I have it out of the handle. I don't have to balance all that weight out here. Now I want to take the heel off, so I'm going to stick this little block of wood in there, about 5/8 of an inch thick. This is going to raise the gouge up on the wheel, take the heel off, take some of the hollow grind out of it. It won't be quite as aggressive for you. It won't be near as grabby because we've taken the hollow grind out of it. So now we have that one pretty much like that. And that's a nice grind. That's an 80 grit that we ground that on. It's a new wheel. Very light touch. Doesn't take a lot on these wheels, especially when they're fairly new like this. They will break in a little bit and get a little bit finer. But you can kind of see the grain lines that are on that. I'll go ahead and sharpen this on the 180 over here so you can see what it's like. Now, let's see if we can get Larry to get a picture of this. This is a 180. This is a 80 grit. I should take the heel off of that other side so you can see it. You can see a little, this is quite a bit finer grain lines on there compared to this side. The 80 grit's a little bit coarser. Which one for you to buy? I can't really say. I probably sell twice as many of the 180 as I do the 80. If you're an aggressive sharpener, you'd probably want the 80. If if you're worried about saving your tools, you'd probably be better off with the 180 over there. I do like the 80 grit for reshaping any of my tools. It just seems like it does a much better job. Okay, so now we got this one here that we got kind of hacked up pretty good here, where we haven't taken enough off the sides. I have another one here that I hacked up. I see this whenever I'm teaching sharpening. I see this a lot. Now this one right here, they've ground too much on the tip. You can see, well, actually I did this. I kind of massacred it the other day. So we'd have something here for examples. And you can see it just ground away the tip. So what they're doing, they're staying too long on the tip. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how I would fix these. Same stick out, same settings. Now, what I got to do on this gouge, I got to spend most of my time grinding on the side, because that's where I got too much steel. So I'm going to stay away from the tip. Now you can see where I'm taking away from the steel is on this heel. Now we're getting closer. We're almost up to the leading edge now. I don't know if we can get a picture of this. Larry's my cameraman. If you can look, if we can get a close-up of this, you can see how I've taken steel off the heel right here. Right off here, compared to what I have here. This is way too fat here. For one thing, with it like this here, I have a leading edge that's kind of like this. I want the leading edge to be sharper. I'm going to work on that side a little bit more because that's the side you can see. Now I'm up to the edge. I can see sparks coming over that edge. Now I have a nice edge on that side. Okay, put the little block of wood in there, take the heel off, and now this should look just about like the other one. Turn that thing off. So now we brought that back to where it's just about like the other one. Now if you look at these two, this one has a longer wing on it than what the other one does. How I got that longer wing is just going around farther. If I want a shorter wing, I just won't move around as far. Okay, so now we got this one that's hacked up here. And now what you got to do, when you do this, you spent too much time sharpening on the tip. So you got to take a lot off the sides here. These sides got to be brought back if you want a long fingernail grind. So we're going to use the same settings. 2-inch out, 7 1/4, and about the number 2 notch. About the numbered center of the number 2 notch. So now I'm going to fix this side, but I'm going to put a shorter wing on it. Got quite a bit of steel to take off right here. The way this gouge was, there was absolutely no way that you could get any cutting action off of that tip. It was ground away. You notice I'm staying off the tip. Just working the side of it. Now I'm going to put a shorter wing on this, and I'll show you how to put a longer wing on it if that's what you want. guys probably can't see what I'm doing here, but I'm doing the same thing as this side as I was on the other. I haven't done much to the tip yet because that's pretty well all ground away. Staying away from that. Starting to come to the tip now, to blend the side to the front. If you look on the front here, you can see I haven't ground anything on that tip yet. Does that show on the camera, Larry? I haven't ground anything on that tip yet because that was all ground away when this gouge was not in a condition where you could use it. I've stayed completely away from that tip. Now I'm to the point where I can start to blend all that. Takes a while to reshape one when you've hacked it up pretty good. Now if you look at it, I'm almost there. It got a little bit less. See if we can get that in the camera. It's just, the only part I haven't ground on this is right there. That's where most of the steel was gone. We had ground it all the way. It was in a wrong, just the wrong setting altogether. Now I'm going to come to that tip and blend that. Almost there. So you can see this is not just a matter of stepping up here and just start grinding away. You got to think of what you're doing when you're here. And the best way you can do that is to be able to see. That's the other thing about these wheels. You can run them without the cover on there. And your light is a lot better. Okay, so now we're pretty good there. We've got it blended all the way around. So now let's compare the wings on this. You can see here now I have a shorter wing on that gouge. So when I'm turning with this gouge here, I can start to bring the wing into the cutting prior to when I can this one, a little bit sooner. But now let's say I want a longer wing on that. So what I got to do now is I have to grind right back in here. Right back in here. I have to stay away from the tip. On this side right here, I got to grind right in here. So I'm going to do that right now. I'll just do one side of this. So I'm grinding back on the wing. Not as much to take off back here. Now if we look at this wing, the length of it compared to the other side, my pencil marks off there. You see the wing shorter here, longer here. You see I didn't have to grind much to make that wing longer. So kind of what I'm telling you, you got to be really careful what you're going to do. I'm going to fix the wing on the other side now. Or change it. Now, if you want to, and if you're really good, you can do this. But that's a hard motion for a lot of turners to do. So I would highly recommend, if you don't have a long handle, or even if you do have a long handle, to practice this by looking right at that leading edge. So I'm going to take the heel off. Okay. So now we got 3 of them ground. They should be really similar here. So you can see how we fixed these two here we fixed. This one has quite a bit longer wing on it. But we got them all fairly close. So that covers a bowl gouge.